So before we hit the Power is Yours segment, I asked the Culture Junkie Nation over on Facebook to vote in a poll of the top 5 roles that Tom Cruise has ever, and I mean ever had, and he's had a lot. Maybe even I think he's been in like 60 movies, so he's had over 60 roles, or maybe he's acted in a couple of sequels, so maybe more like he's had 58 roles. Whatever. He's had a lot to choose from. Some more memorable than others, obviously. So right now, I'm going to present to you the top 5 roles of Tom Cruise's entire career. And the first one, number 5, tied. It was Lestat from Interview with the Vampire and Jerry Maguire in Jerry Maguire, obviously. Lestat was one of Cruise's more memorable roles, playing the sire of Brad Pitt's Louis in Interview with the Vampire, but Jerry Maguire defined Cruise for the entire 90s, if you have to say, because his turn as a sports agent striking out on his own earned him an Oscar nod and a Golden Globe win, but it also endeared him with an entire generation with his whole "Showed Me the Money" scene with Cuba Gooding Jr. Like, people still do that to this day.
Cuba.
What do you guys think of these two roles?
Show Me the Money is definitely there, but the main line from that movie, real quick, main line from that movie that most people remember is "You Complete Me."
From Renee Zellweger, sure.
Yeah,
that was from that movie.
Yeah.
That wasn't from like one of those other rom-coms.
That became a pickup line for a very long time, right after that movie came out. Now, obviously, "Show Me the Money" is a huge memorable line, but "You Complete Me" is still used in movies now. Hell, the Joker said it to Batman in Dark Knight. Yeah, so I mean, it's like
complete me. Yes, no, he did. You're right.
It's like that line stuck around. I give it back to you.
Okay. All right. So in number 4, we have Vincent from Collateral. Now, we talked about this earlier. In the film, Cruise plays a hitman who uses his taxi driver Jamie Foxx to drive him around town to carry out his kind of complex contract. But Cruise rarely plays villains, as I mentioned before. But this role might be his best performance as a villain. Yeah. He was his usual charming self, but he was able to flip the switch and become a remorseless assassin when necessary. And he was doing some stuff in there. Was just like, oh man.
Well, I mean, don't forget he killed Bruce Banner.
He did
in that movie.
He did. He was up against Jason Statham too in that movie.
No, Jason Statham's not.
I swore I saw a picture with him and Jason Statham in that one.
No.
You sure?
Absolutely,
pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, come on now. If Jason Statham would have been in that movie,
he doesn't lose.
Well, no. This would have been early in Statham's career, but Statham was not in that film. It was Mark Ruffalo and the other dude that looks like a very on drugs, skinny Jason Statham. I forgot his name.
Maybe that's why.
I know the actor you're talking
maybe that's
about.
why. Maybe
I
that's
know the
why.
actor you're talking about. I just can't remember his name. But I was, of course, also Jada Pinkett Smith was in the movie, as well as, of course, Jamie Foxx, the taxi driver, and a young Javier Bardem was in that movie as well.
Oh, okay.
As the basically Cruise's handler.
Okay.
Not handler, the guy who had hired him. Basically.
Yeah. Essentially.
Oh wow, that was 2004.
Yeah, that was 2004.
Yeah, that movie's old, dude.
Yeah, man.
That movie's old.
It was.
I did not realize it was
we
that old.
We watched it in Florida. Remember?
We did.
Yeah.
Now I remember watching it recently. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't. I don't want to say timeless, I guess, but it just didn't feel old.
All right, so number 3, Les Grossman.
There you go.
Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder. So it was a role so surprising, as people mentioned in our chat earlier. Many didn't even recognize it was him until almost a third of the way through.
Yeah.
Another funny thing about that is this is obviously that came out in, I want to say 2008 or 9. No, 2008. 2008, yeah. Came out in 2008 because it came out the same year as Iron Man. But it came out right.
Yeah,
absolutely. It came out right before Iron Man, because when the Blu-rays and DVDs came out, the extras they put on there was like, oh, well, now that you're Iron Man and you're making all this money, all the extras was about about Robert Downey playing Iron Man and Jack Black playing Kung Fu Panda.
Yes.
So yeah, but here's the thing. So this is obviously early big leaks and whatnot. They said Tom Cruise found out that somebody leaked that he was going to be in the movie. He was pissed. He made sure that got scrubbed off the internet. I was like, good God.
Easier to do back then.
Tom Cruise could have been
way
Iron
much
Man.
easier. Way easier to do back then.
Tom Cruise could have been Iron Man.
Yes.
Oh no, no, yeah, that was always,
honestly,
that was always what they
I still
wanted
want to see
back
that
in
in
the
the MCU. Like, I want him to be a variant Tony Stark. I still need to see that. But anyway, so
100 million. How about I send you a hobo's dick cheese?
yes, Grossman may be his most memorable role. Like, and personally, I need a Les Grossman film.
Here's why that probably will never happen. Grossman is a mixture of Harvey Weinstein and one other producer or something that pissed off Tom Cruise at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's going to happen, especially after what happened with Harvey Weinstein going to prison.
I mean, but still, to say this role was so against.
I know he was hilarious.
Yes, it was against Cruise's usual type.
Absolutely.
It would be a massive understatement to say that is a role so against his type. And like you said, it was essentially a film satire unlike any other we've ever seen, featuring a unbelievable black-faced Robert Downey Jr. Cruise's expletive-effusing film producer stands out 2 decades later.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Okay, hold on. Minority Games wants him to be a super stripper. He strips during the night and does heroics during the day.
Didn't they make a TV show about that, though?
Wow. I don't know, but Les Grossman. Yeah, I would love if they did make a Les
Jason Statham was in Collateral.
Really?
Well, somebody mentioned it just got him credited as that airport man.
That's what I thought. I thought I saw him.
Okay.
It might have been before he blew up. You said it was 2004.
Yeah.
That could have been. When did The One come out?
The One?
Yeah, that was like 2000.
With Jet Li?
Yeah, 2000, 2001.
Something like that.
So he still was probably early in his.
Oh no, definitely early in his career. But I'm saying he did not have a role that because Mark Ruffalo's partner was like I said, looks like a cracked out Jason Statham.
Yep.
Yeah. They said airport man, so I don't know. So
more than likely somebody that he showed up for one thing and then got killed, or just there. But yeah.
All right, guys. So obviously going back to
the top 5.
Going back to the top 5. Number 2, excuse me. Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell. And this was the role that put Cruise on the map in Hollywood, so to speak. Everything up to this point had Tom Cruise as kind of like an up-and-comer in Hollywood. But Top Gun is where he became a bankable movie star. And Top Gun is remembered as one of the quintessential 80s films. And Cruise is the biggest reason why. The long-awaited sequel, Top Gun Maverick, broke box office records in a pandemic. A pandemic.
Absolutely.
Where people were not going to the movie theaters. They came out to see that. So odds aren't great that he'll do a third Top Gun, but I wouldn't put it past him. He could do it if he wanted to.
I hope that he doesn't. That's one that I don't want them to over milk. Like, Top Gun Maverick is actually probably it's almost as perfect a sequel as Terminator 2 is a perfect sequel. Like, Top Gun Maverick was much better than the original in almost every way. And, the film itself just worked. It was really good. Obviously the film is a rehash of the original film, but as a sequel, Top Gun was just, Maverick rather was just like heads and shoulders above better than the original. But yeah, I don't want them to suddenly just be like, oh, we're gonna make a third one. Like,
yeah.
About what?
Yeah, I guess so.
They tied up every possible loose end you could tie up in that movie.
I guess it's true.
So
I guess it's true. All right, guys. So number 1, probably no surprise. And I had to do it with a running shot because you got to do it with a running shot. Agent Ethan Hunt. And honestly, what can you say about this film? Would anyone have thought when the first Mission Impossible film was released in 1996 that we'd be getting ready to watch the 7th installment of the franchise almost 30 years later?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
First one was so good though.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that one in the theater. Obviously the vault break sequence was like, that was, you could hear a pin drop in that theater. It got so quiet watching that sequence. So that's, to me, that's when you can have a crowd in the palm of your hand like that and just have complete control over an entire theater. That's good movie making for me.
Indeed.
That's why I've enjoyed a lot of the Marvel films. It's like everybody's invested on those various moments as they happen. And Mission Impossible does that a lot.
100%.
And again, that's a testament to Cruise, his dedication to filmmaking and lately putting his life on the line.
100%.
This stuff done, but I mean, it is what it is, and he does a really good job with it.
Right. Like you just mentioned, the stunts that Cruise does himself at his increasing age is reaching Jackie Chan levels of crazy. Yeah. Like hanging off of the side of a plane that just took off, hanging out of I think he was hanging out of one of the buildings in Dubai too.
Yeah, the Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah. And now even as we saw from the trailers, him riding that bike basically off a cliff and then, basically doing
it's a base jump.
Essentially base jumping, yeah. But man, we don't know how many more we'll get with Cruise's Ethan Hunt.
One, because
one more.
Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2 is the end of it.
Okay, all right. So, but we're all the better. We've been all the better to get Ethan Hunt. No, at 100%. All right, guys. So that is the top 5 roles of Tom Cruise's career as voted on by the Culture Junkie Nation. If you want to participate in our next poll, make sure you follow us over on Culture Junkies at Facebook.com or join us over on Threads. Search for Culture Junkies on Threads, and we're